dear devotees, Dandavat Pranam, Jai Prabhupada. How are you doing today?
Transcendental.
Tapa Mataji, looks like you are frozen or what? Why does it show like that to me? Say something, Sutapa Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Feeling transcendental today, Mataji. Dandavat Pranam.
Transcendental, fantastic. And Sutapa Mataji, I think still on mute. Can you say something? I just want to make sure that you're not getting lost here.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Fantastic. Good to hear from you. I'm just trying to see whether we are broadcasting on Facebook or not.
In the meantime, can I ask something to Ishwari Radha Mataji?
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah. Hare Krishna Ishwari Radha Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Dandavat Pranam.
Yeah, Dandavat Pranam. I was just wondering, means you are living in Florida, right?
Yes.
So what about that rose means plants? In winter, do you get the same kind of flowers? Because I have also the flowers like the pink one, but since September, I won't get any flower in Northeast.
All right. So now, Ishwari Radhika, you'll have to answer that question offline.
Yes. Okay. We'll talk
Okay.
later. Hare
She'll
Krishna.
talk later. Good. But that's a good question because she's thinking of doing DT worship. Very good, Sutapa. And I'd like to welcome Dilip Bhai Patel Prabhu. I would like to welcome Achyuta Radhe Mataji, Sadhana Ellen Mataji, and Vidyavadhu Mataji, who have joined us on Facebook. And of course, we have Ishwari Shraddha-devi Dasi, we have Sutapa Mataji and Preeti Radhika Devi Dasi here on the call. Welcome to our Tuesday morning class on Bhagavad-gita. And we'll start first with a few prayers. And first to the spiritual master. Om Timarandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Matsamo Nasti Papatma Naparadhi Chakaschana Parihare Pilajame Kim Bhuve Purushottama Yuvatinam Yatha Yuni Yunam Cha Yuvato Yatha Manobhi Ramate Tadvan Manome Ramatam Tvai Bhumau Skalita Padanam Bhumirevavalambanam Tvai Jata Paradhanam Tvameva Sharanam Prabhu Govinda Vallabhe Radhe Prarthaye Tvamaham Sada Tvadiyam iti Janatu Govindo Mam Tvaya Saha Radhe Vrindavanadhishe Karunamritvahini Kripaya Nij Padabja Dasyam Mahyam Pradiyata. Okay, so be ready with a paper and a pencil. I am going to announce the reading order for today. So in the order of appearance on the Zoom call, we'll go with Ishwari Shraddha-devi Dasi Mataji, followed by Sutapa Mataji. Please remember who goes before you, who goes after you. Sutapa Mataji, then Preeti Radhika Mataji, and Varshana Devi Dasi Mataji. And then after that, I will go always towards the end as more people, more devotees might join us here. Okay, so we will do the translations of this verse now. And if you're on mute, then you can unmute yourself, speak your line, and then go on mute again. Starting with Ishwari Radha Mataji. Can you see the prayers on the screen?
Yes, Mataji. O Purushottama, no sinner or offender is as bad as I am. How can I describe my shame? Just as the minds of young ladies take pleasure in a young man, and the minds of young men take pleasure in a young woman, kindly let my mind take pleasure in you alone.
Sutapa Mataji.
I was on mute. Just as the ground is the only support for those whose feet have slipped, you alone are the only shelter for those who have offended you. Hare Krishna.
O Srimati Radharani, beloved of Lord Govinda, this is my request. May you and Lord Govinda consider me one of your assistants.
Hare Krishna. O Shrimati Radharani, O Queen of Vrindavan, you are a river flowing with the nectar of mercy. Please be kind to me and give me a little service at your lotus feet. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Okay, so I'm going to bring up the other prayer so that we can do the reflections for it together. And let's see whose turn it is to read. Okay, now we have been joined by Neeral. And is that Neeral, or is it Khyati, or does Neeral and Khyati both?
Hare Krishna Mataji, it's me.
Okay, Khyati Mataji. Go ahead.
It's my turn?
Yeah.
Okay. Sakrit eva prapanno yas tavasmiti cha yachate abhayam sarvada tasmai dadamyam etad vratam mama.
Very nice, very nice. Okay. Synonyms?
And Ishwari Radha Mataji also joined, so she...
Ishwari Radha Mataji is the one who she's going in first.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So after Khyati Mataji, it's you, Shraddha Mataji, no?
Oh yeah, you go ahead. Yeah, I'm skipping my turn so that
Oh,
you all
okay.
have to read. Yeah.
Okay. Synonyms: Sakrit, once only; Eva, certainly; Prapanna, surrendered; Yaha, anyone who; Tava, yours; Asmi, I am; Iti, thus; Cha, also; Yachate, praise; Abhayam, fearlessness; Sarvada, always; Tasmai, unto him; Dadami, I give; Itad, this; Vritam, vow; Mama, my.
Translation. It is my vow that if one only once seriously surrenders unto me, saying, My dear Lord, from this day I am yours, and prays to me for courage, I shall immediately award courage to that person and he will always remain safe from that time on. Hare Krishna.
Very good. So I wanted to point out that this word, you see this letter over here, right? Now, all of you can read, all those of you who are on the Zoom, you can read this Devanagari script, right? You're able to read Hindi?
Yes, I can
Yes,
read
ma'am.
Hindi.
Yeah, Alaf Sutapa, Ishwari
No,
Radha?
Mataji.
Yeah, Sutapa can't read. Okay, and Ishwari Radha, can you read?
Just a few words, Mataji. Once I see it, then I know.
Okay.
Otherwise.
So I just wanted to mention that this letter that you see over here, when it comes in English, then it will be like A, and I wanted to distinguish that with I, right? This I, like that. So there is in the alphabet, Hindi alphabet, and I'm pretty sure must be in your alphabets as well. So there is a E, and there is a A, like that, right? Like what do you call this? We call this anak. So you see a, like that. And then eek, sugar cane is called eek, or imli, tamarind, imli. So you see there's a little lesser, they are two very different words, E and A. The sound is different. So this is not ether. Wherever you see anything starting with a E, it is actually A. So although for those who are wired with the Hindi thing might see like, okay, A, E, I, O, U in English, E is E. Now here it is A, right? So etad, dadamya etad, A, like, as if it is starting with the letter A, like that. Okay. All right. So let's do reflections here in the morning on both the things that you have studied, that you heard today. And I'd also like to welcome more devotees who joined us here. Namazya Mataji, Vijay Lakshmi Mataji, and of course, Bhakta Edwin is there, and Bhakta Max Gray is also watching us here today. Please accept my humble obeisances and please feel free to share your reflections on Facebook here. Okay, now here, back to Zoom. NSC, yeah. Okay.
Tameva Sharanam Prabhu.
Okay, Tameva Sharanam Prabhu.
From that time on, he remains safe.
From that time on, okay.
We long for safety so much, especially nowadays. So,
Hmm. Yes,
And courage also.
courage also. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because what if we, yeah, fall through the safety net, right? What if you're not in a safe situation? Yeah.
Karunamrita Bahini, a little mercy we need. And Mataji, I am connecting two prayers together. Is it okay?
Yes, yes, absolutely. You should always be connecting Shastra together. It is good. Yeah, it is good.
So we need the little mercy when I'm telling that I am all ears. And from that time, we need the courage to total dedication or total surrender. But that courage cannot come just one fine morning. It takes time. And we need 4 letters for that: A, B, C, D. A for association, B for books, C for chanting, and D for diet. So it all.
Very nice, very nice, very nicely said. See, somebody's becoming poetical. Very good. And so, what is there in the diet?
Because when we are having that pure food and prasadam, leaving everything like meat, onion, garlic, and just eat only that vegetarian food and prasadam, that also helps to stay transcendental.
Okay, good. Yeah, vegetarian, but also among the vegetarians, sattvic food, right? Because vegetarian food can also be passionate food that'll, like oily and fried and things like that, right? Too much of chilies, right? Good, very good, very, very good. Now, so diet is diet, but then of course they also say that you should also take some vitamins, right? So what are the vitamins? From where do you get your vitamins for your diet? Varshana Mataji, you're smiling. Tell us.
Instead of vitamins, Mataji, if you were talking about the food, really, the nuts will help. But the other vitamins is to read and listen, Sravanam, Kirtanam.
Very good. Yes, there was a very nice lecture Vaisheshika Prabhu was given, which says that all the vitamins are in the holy name. So you take the holy name and you get all the vitamins. But thank you so much for the A, B, C, and D. Okay, very nice. Yeah. What else?
Karuna
Mataji,
Bahini. Sorry, Mataji, go ahead. Varshana Mataji, go ahead. I just finished.
Hare Krishna. Mataji, I was just thinking D can stand for devotional service also. So
Yes, of course.
I was just thinking of that a little. Diet didn't come to my mind, but it was a very good point Sutapa Mataji brought up.
Yes.
And I was just thinking of devotional service along with that.
Yeah, because you are what you eat. Okay, good, very good. And Achutaradhe Mataji says that Kripya Nijapadabja Dasya Mahiyam Pradityam. This is the wish as Lord promised to award shelter and ashray. Yeah, very good. Yeah, same concept here. Very good. Yeah, we're two in that favor. And then we have Amit Adhikari. Prabhu, thank you so much for joining our call. Preeti Sharma joins us from India. Hare Krishna, good to have you here. Just one second. Also wanted to let those of you who are joining me on Facebook, I also want to let you know that I use Facebook primarily for broadcasting purposes, and I don't use Facebook much for any of the other things that it is used for. For example, if you send me messages on Facebook, I don't get to read them. And I mean, just yesterday I stumbled upon some messages, and they were sent from 2 years ago. And so if you really have a comment on the lecture that we are discussing, or the topic we're discussing, just put your questions, etc., on as a comment against that lecture, because after the lecture I do go back and look at the comments, and I'll address that either there and then itself, or most likely in the lecture on the next day, like that. So because I got some messages saying that, I have sent you a message, I've asked you a question. I'm like, where did you ask questions? They must be buried in layers of messages on the Facebook, like that. I also don't take Facebook calls. I don't have the bandwidth to address that. I wish I could, but I don't have that. Okay, having said that, let's get back to Zoom here and see what Varshana Mataji was trying to say.
Krishna Mataji, I was saying that you asked no vitamins. I was just thinking of milk. See, you get the calcium. But at the same time, this thing came to my mind that there was a Brahmana who was taking only milk, and Nityanand Prabhu brought him to, because he wanted to see Mahaprabhu dancing, and he wanted to have his darshan. And I mean, he really stressed that I want to see. And finally, he said he's a pious person. Okay. And so he hid him in the house, and Mahaprabhu started dancing with the Sankirtan. But then he said that, no, I'm not getting that feeling. There is somebody is here. And then Nityanand Prabhu was a little scared that what should I tell him? And then he says, yes, there is one Brahmana, but he's a pious soul, and he only takes milk. And he said, Mahaprabhu said, that does not mean the one who does the austerity, or that goes to the austerity. He does the austerity. That means he can have my darshan. So I just stopped myself. How to take this, Mataji?
So I didn't understand the question.
My question is that he said, I take only milk. That was his austerity. But yes. I was about to say, from the milk that we get calcium, and it is good to drink. Yes. So not taking it as an austerity, but taking it as a day-to-day. What we have, we take yogurt, we take milk, and all that. So how it should be taken? It should be taken as an austerity, or it should be taken that we get the sufficient thing which is required for the body.
He was not taking milk as an austerity. No. His austerity was not taking milk as for me, taking milk is an austerity because I don't like milk. So my mom used to scold me and make me drink milk. For me, drinking milk was an austerity. The austerity that you're mentioning in that episode is not the austerity of taking milk. His austerity was that he was taking only milk. His austerity was giving up other things. Giving up other things and only having milk. So then your other point of, that milk gives us goodness. Yes, milk gives you goodness, but he was taking only milk, right? So only austerities are not sufficient, right? The bhava has to be there. So the only austerity means that I will keep fast, I will do this, I will go and stand underneath the sun, and in the winters, and cook, and stand underneath the water in the winters, and stand under the sun in the summers. There's a very, very nice verse. I'm just going to submit that in evidence. It's a very, very, very beautiful verse. And let me just bring that. The essence of that that verse was that you cannot get God. Yeah, this is from and which also actually substantiates what it's a very interesting point that you bring up, what Sutapa Mataji had talked about. So in the ABCDs, what had Sutapa Mataji said was A. Does anybody remember? Sutapa, you can't.
Association.
Association. Okay. And then Varshana Mataji also said a word. What was the A word that she was using in her story? There was a word with A.
Austerity.
Austerity, exactly, right? So austerity, so let's see. Let's look at this verse that I'm bringing up on your screen right now. And that's this. This is from Jara Bharat, and who is giving a teaching to King Rahugana. And more about that sometime later. But right now, I just want to just take that. There were some very nice teachings that Jara Bharat, who's nothing but our own King Bharat of the deer, fame of the deer, right? In his subsequent life, he becomes Jara Bharat. And let's see, whose turn is it to read? I got a message that Soni Mataji cannot read. And is there anybody else who joined us? No. Yeah, Suyash and Mansi cannot make it today. They send me a
Mataji, I can write the order because I don't see it. So if you can say it one more time, then I can just type
Ishwari,
it.
yeah, Ishwari Radha,
Mm-hmm.
Sutapa Mataji,
Mm-hmm.
Preeti Ratika, Varshana Mataji, Niral and Khyati, and then Shraddha-devi Dasi.
Then I think it is Preeti Radhika Mataji's turn to read.
Okay. So Preeti, why don't you give us the Sanskrit?
Sure. Rahugana etat tapasa nayati na cheyaya nirvapanad grihadva na chandasa naiva jalagni surya vina mahatpada rajo bhishekam.
Rahu guneta tapasa nayati nache jaya nirvapanad grihadva na chandasa naiva jalagni surya bina mahatpad rajo bhishekam. Let's see, what does it mean here? Who's next in line to read? After Preeti? Varshana Mataji.
Yes, Mother. My dear King Rahugana, unless one has the opportunity to smear his entire body with the dust of the lotus feet of great devotees, one cannot realize the absolute truth. One cannot realize the absolute truth simply by observing celibacy, brahmacharya, strictly following the rules and regulations of householder life, leaving home as a vanaprastha, accepting sannyasa, or undergoing severe penance in winter by keeping oneself submerged in water or surrounding oneself in summer by fire and the scorching heat of the sun. There are many other processes to understand the absolute truth, but the absolute truth is only revealed to one who has attained the mercy of a great devotee.
There you go.
Yeah.
Right? So I think that answers your question there.
Yes, Mataji.
The bhava has to be there, the bhava. Right? Once Shiva's mother-in-law or mother was also trying to hide in a basket and trying to participate, but Mahaprabhu just got that. Yeah. Okay. So I'm still sharing the screen with you, right? Right or right? Can you see?
Yes, yes, Mataji.
Okay. So let me see if we have more reflections here. We have Gaurangi Singh who's also joined us, and that's good. Okay, so now let's go to the next part, which is reading from Bhagavad-gita. And just remind us, Khyati, where we are on the order after.
It's Kathy Mataji's
It
turn.
is my turn to read,
Okay,
Mataji.
good.
Chapter 2, Contents of the Gita summarized. Text 1. Sanjaya said, seeing Arjuna full of compassion, his mind depressed, his eyes full of tears, Madhusudana Krishna spoke the following words. Text 2. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, my dear Arjuna, how have these impurities come upon you? They are not at all befitting a man who knows the value of life. They lead not to higher planets, but to infamy.
O son of Pritha, do not yield to this degrading impotence. It does not become you. Give up such petty weakness of heart and arise, O chastiser of the enemy. Text 4. Arjuna said, O killer of enemies, O killer of Madhu, how can I counteract with arrows in battle men like Bhishma and Drona who are worthy of my worship?
Text 5. It would be better to live in this world by begging than to live at the cost of the lives of great souls who are my teachers. Even though desiring worldly gain, they are superiors. If they are killed, everything we enjoy will be tainted with blood. Text 6. Nor do we know which is better, conquering them or being conquered by them. If we kill the sons of Dhritarashtra, we should not care to live, yet they are now standing before us on the battlefield. Hare Krishna.
Text 7. Now I am confused about my duty and have lost all composure because of miserly weakness. In this condition, I am asking you to tell me for certain what is best for me. Now I am your disciple and a soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me. Text 8. I can find no means to drive away this grief which is drying up my senses. I will not be able to dispel it even if I win a prosperous, unrivaled kingdom on earth with sovereignty like the demigods in heaven. Hare Krishna.
Text 9. Sanjay said, having spoken thus, Arjuna, chastiser of enemies, told Krishna, Govinda, I shall not fight, and fell silent. Text 10. O descendant of Bharata, at that time Krishna, smiling in the midst of both the armies, spoke the following words to the grief-stricken Arjuna.
Hare Krishna. Mataji, just scroll it up.
It's already up. It's already
No,
up.
Mataji, it didn't come, Mataji.
Does it help you?
Text 11, the Supreme.
Yeah.
Now it is there. Text 11, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, while speaking learned words, you are mourning for that is not worthy of grief. Those who are wise lament neither for the living nor for the dead. Never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings, nor in the future shall any of us cease to be. Hare Krishna.
Text 13. As the embodied soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change. O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress and their disappearance in due course are the appearance and disappearance of winter and summer seasons. They arise from sense perception, O sign of Bharata, and one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. Hare Krishna.
Text number 15. O best among Arjuna, the person who is not disturbed by happiness and distress and is steady in both is certainly eligible for liberation. Text 16. Those who are seers of the truth have concluded that of the non-existent, the material body, there is no endurance, and of the eternal, the soul, there is no change. This they have concluded by studying the nature of both.
Text 17. That which pervades the entire body, you should know to be indestructible. No one is able to destroy that imperishable soul. Text 18. The material body of the indestructible, immeasurable, and eternal living entity is sure to come to an end. Therefore, fight, O descendant of Bharata.
Text 19. Neither he who thinks the living entity the slayer, not he who thinks it slain, is in knowledge. For the self slays not, nor in slain. Text 20. For the soul there is neither birth or death at any time. He has not come into being, does not come into being, and will not come into being. He is unborn, eternal, ever existing, and primeval. He is not slain when the body is slain. Hare Krishna.
O Partha, how can a person who knows Text 21. O Partha, how can a person who knows that a soul is indestructible, eternal, unborn, and immutable kill anyone or cause anyone to kill? Text 22. As a person puts on new garments, giving up old ones, the soul similarly accepts new material bodies, giving up the old and useless ones.
Text 23. The soul can never be cut to pieces by any weapon, nor burned by fire, nor moistened by. The soul can never be cut to pieces by any weapon, nor burned by fire, nor moistened by water, nor withered by the wind. Text 24. This individual soul is unbreakable and insoluble and can be neither burned or dried. He is everlasting, present everywhere, unchangeable, immovable, and eternally the same. Hare Krishna.
It is said that the soul is invisible, inconceivable, and immutable. Knowing this, you should not grieve for the body. Text 26. If, however, you think that the soul or the symptoms of life will always be born and die forever, you still have no reason to lament, O mighty armed.
Text 27. One who has taken his birth is sure to die, and after death, one is sure to take birth again. Therefore, in the unavoidable discharge of your duty, you should not lament. Text 28. All created beings are unmanifest in the beginning, manifest in their interim state, and unmanifest again when annihilated. So, what need is there for lamentation?
Text 29. Some look on the soul as amazing, some describe him as amazing, and some hear of him as amazing, while others, even after hearing about him, cannot understand him at all. Text 30. O descendant of Bharata, he who dwells in the body can never be slain. Therefore, you need not grieve for any living being.
Text 31. Considering your specific duty as a Kshatriya, you should know that there is no better engagement for you than fighting on religious principles, and there is no need for hesitation. Text 32. O Partha, happy are the Kshatriyas to whom such fighting opportunities come unsought, opening for them the doors of the heavenly planets. Hare Krishna.
Text 33. If, however, you do not perform your religious duty of fighting, then you will certainly incur sins for neglecting your duties and thus lose your reputation as a fighter. People will always speak of your infamy, and for a respectable person, dishonor is worse than death.
Text 35. The great generals who have highly esteemed your name and fame will think that you have left the battlefield out of fear only, and thus they will consider you insignificant. The text 36. Your enemies will describe you in many unkind words and scorn your ability. What could be more painful for you? Hare Krishna.
Text 37. Sorry. O son of Kunti, either you will be killed on the battlefield and attain the heavenly planets, or you will conquer and enjoy the earthly kingdom. Therefore, get up with determination and fight. Do thou fight for the sake of fighting, without considering happiness or distress, loss or gain, victory or defeat, and by so doing, you will never incur sin. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. So, we did one part of our morning ritual of reading from Srimad Bhagavad-gita. And let's look at the verse for today, which is text number 29. And this is a it's a very interesting verse. I really like it. And it's talking about the soul. Ascharyavat paschati kaschidinam. Ascharyavat vatati tadeva chanyaha. Ascharyavaschena manya shrunoti. Shutvapya enam vedana cheva kaschit. And let's look at the synonyms here.
Ascharyavat, as amazing. Pashyati, sees. Kaschit, someone. Inam, this soul. Ascharya, Inam, this soul. Ascharyavat, as amazing. Vadati, speaks of. Tatha, thus. Eva, certainly. Cha, also. Anya, another. Ascharyavat, similarly amazing. Cha, also. enam, this soul, anya, another, shrunoti, hears of, shutva, having heard, api, even, enam, this soul, veda, knows, na, never, cha, and eva, certainly, kaschit, someone.
Okay, yeah, enam, right? It's a small a, enam.
Mataji, before going to the translation, I want to ask you something. Means this soul, it's enam. If it is only soul, then the enam won't apply here, right?
Right. Yes. Good. So you see that when Prabhupada, it's a very interesting point that and very good point actually that you bring up, that this is Sanskrit, right? And Prabhupada has used the word synonyms. He has not used the word meaning. He's not saying word meaning. He's not doing a straight to straight translation of this is the word in Sanskrit and this is the word in English for that. He is doing the translation in the context of it. Sometimes it'll start, for example, we did this verse, Ayur Harati Vaipumsam, Udyan Astam Chayan Asau. So he's saying that the duration of life gets decreased with the rising and setting of the sun. And so if you look at the word meaning of this, 3.2.17 verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, he says Asau. And Asau is translated as sun, the sun planet. But Asau in Sanskrit doesn't mean sun. Asau means this, like that. So he's doing a contextual translation, depending on what has been spoken before, what is being spoken right now. He's saying, instead of saying this, he's saying sun, because the rising and setting of this. If I say where the rising and setting of this, and if I take this verse in isolation, people won't get the clue of what is this, right? So then in the synonyms, he will say the sun. Yeah. So enam, yeah, you're very good observation there. Okay, let's go.
Some look on the soul as amazing, some describe him as amazing, and some hear of him as amazing, while others, even after hearing about him, cannot understand him at all.
Since Gita Upanishad is largely based on the principles of the Upanishads, it is not surprising to also find this passage in the Katha Upanishad.
Katha
Upanishad 1-7. And I'm going to butcher it, but I'll try. Shwarnyapi bahubhiryo nalabhya shranvatopi bhavo yam navidyu ascharyo vakta kushalo swalabdha ascharyo swagyanata kushal anushitaha.
Wow, yeah, good attempt. Yeah, this is Sya.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is Sya. Yeah. Okay, good. All right. Who's going to give us a translation of that beautiful verse from Katha Upanishad? Katha.
Yeah.
Katha.
The fact that the atomic soul is within the body of a gigantic animal, in the body of the gigantic banyan tree, and also in microbic germs, millions and billions of which occupy only an inch of space, is certainly very amazing. Men with poor fund of knowledge and men who are not austere cannot understand the wonders of the individual atomic spark of spirit, even though it is explained by the greatest authority of knowledge, who imparted lessons even to Brahma, the first living being in the universe. Owing to the gross material conception of things, most men in this age cannot imagine how much a small particle can become both so great and so small. So men look at the soul proper as wonderful either by constitution or by description. Illusioned by the material energy, people are so engrossed in subject matters for sense gratification, that they have very little time to understand the question of self-understanding, even though it is a fact that without this self-understanding, all activities result in ultimate defeat in the struggle of existence. Struggle for existence. Perhaps they have no idea that one must think of the soul and thus make a solution to the material miseries. Hare Krishna.
Some people who are inclined to hear about the soul may be attending lectures in good association, but sometimes, owing to ignorance, they are misguided by the acceptance of the super soul and the atomic soul as one without distinction of magnitude. It is very difficult to find a man who perfectly understands the position of the super soul, the atomic soul, and their respective function and relationship, and all other major and minor details. And it is still more difficult to find a man who has actually, who has actually derived full benefit from knowledge of the soul and who is able to describe the position of the soul in different aspects. But if somehow or other one is able to understand the subject matter of the soul, then one's life is successful. Hare Krishna.
The easiest process for understanding the subject matter of self, however, is to accept the statements of the Bhagavad-gita spoken by the greatest authority, Lord Krishna, without being deviated by other theories. But it also requires a great deal of penance and sacrifice, either in this life or in the previous ones, before one is able to accept Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna can, however, be known as such by the causeless mercy of the pure devotee and by no other way. By no other way. Ragu gune tat tapasa na yati, right? Na chejaya na nirvapanat grahadva, na chandasa na vajalagni surya vina mahat pad rajobhishekam. Mahat means the great devotee. Pad means feet. Rajo means the dust. Abhishek means you take a bath in the dust of the lotus feet of devotees. That's the only way, and only way. There are no other way. It's very, very clearly Prabhupada has emphasized that you cannot do it. Okay. So reflection time, the best time of the day. What did you find there?
Mataji, here it is describing that the relationship of like Atma and Paramatma, the super soul and the atomic soul.
And why would you say that?
Because for some people it is very difficult to understand that relationship with that Atma and Paramatma because of the functions and everything.
So go back and look at the words and see where is the word Paramatma, where is the word Paramatma coming in this?
Position of the super soul. Find a man who, it is very difficult to find a man who perfectly understands the position of a super soul, the atomic soul, their respective functions and relationship, and all other major and minor details.
Okay, yeah. So this is something that Prabhupada is explaining on top of it, right? In the purport. It's not necessarily in the verse, right?
No.
Right. So he's talking about, so he's talking about that people cannot understand, and he's saying that they can understand soul, which this verse is saying. And then he's also saying that they also get misguided as to who the soul is and who the super soul is, like that. Yeah, from the purport, yes. But the essence, what's the main thing that the verse is saying? Main thing, keep the main thing, the main thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Yeah, Ishwari Radha, go ahead.
He in this translation, Srila Prabhupada says that the soul, even though people know, some describe him as amazing, some know, but still they cannot understand what is the soul.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, good. Varshana, go ahead.
Mataji, I was saying that it is so amazing that this soul is in a very small creature, in the ant also, and the soul is in the big humongous elephant also. So it is so amazing that it is very difficult to understand the size of the soul, that maybe in the elephant it will be bigger, but see, as it has been clarified in the Shastras that the soul is the 10,000 part of the tip of the hair. So this is so amazing that it is so small, and the elephant can also have it, and he can also be like you say, electricity. You have to change the voltage in the electricity, but here to do the functions, there is no difference. So the small soul functions same way in the elephant as well as in the ant.
Does the soul function the same way in the elephant and the ant?
No,
Or it
Mataji,
functions differently?
no, it function means it makes him walk, talk, walk, and in the human being, it is a different way of doing it. In the ant,
Let's stay with ant and the elephant. Yeah. And then now let's see. Now let's see. You are trying to get there and you are on the right track. I'm just trying to guide you to come to the precise point. You have something in your head which is right, but I want the right thing to come out. So the soul,
yes, Mataji.
Yeah, soul is acting the same in both the ant's body and the elephant's body. Then what is what is there to be surprised about it then? If the soul is acting the same way, right?
It is surprising that in the humongous body also it can work. It can work, and in the small ant also, small ant is also moving, and the elephant is also moving. Whereas in the electricity, you see, we need to change the voltage. If we need to run, suppose a generator, we need a different voltage. Whereas for a small iron, we need a different voltage. So, but here, with the same thing, it is working. Everybody can work, human beings as well as animals, and small or big or anything. This is what I was thinking.
Yes. So, well, in India, the voltage is how much? 220 volts always, right? Whether it's a bulb, right? So what you change is the wattage of the bulb, right? There's more current, you need more current there, right?
220 to 250, 260, yes.
Yeah. So if you have to use an iron, do you set the voltage to 220? And if you use the refrigerator, do you set it to 260? Is that how you do it?
No, Mataji, it is the same voltage, but the thing is, we need the generator, we need more power.
No, you don't need the generator for doing that. So the voltage remains the same. You're drawing more power. And how do you draw more power from an electrical socket? Is by drawing more current from there, right?
Yeah.
So voltage, usually there's a range, but in general, like in America, the voltage is 110 volts, right? You know that.
110.
Yeah, 220. So like that, the voltage is different. So yes, you have the right things in mind. You just need to articulate it. The soul is not working in the same way. Because the soul is working in the same way, then what's the big deal, right? I go to Bombay and I go to sleep. I go to Vrindavan and I go to sleep. So what's the big deal that I'm doing, whether I'm in a small place or whether I'm in a big city or a small city, religious city or not religious city, right? The amazement there is that the soul is and you have to remember this, the soul is the driving factor. The soul is able to drive, and that's that key word to keep in mind. Driving force. That the source, the soul. The amazing part is that, as you said rightly, that the soul is so tiny that it is about, and it's not exactly the same size as 1 by 10,000 of the tip of a hair. It's just an estimate that they are giving so that you understand how small it is, because the soul is immeasurable, right? You cannot measure it with your faculties. So the soul, the same tiny soul, which is about that particular size, is able to drive an elephant, make him walk, make the elephant talk, make the elephant do whatever elephants do, and then also do the same thing for a tiny ant without changing. Without changing, because the other part that is listed is that the soul is unchangeable. So that's surprising, because then to bring to your point, you're saying that I need to I need to draw more current from my socket to be able to drive an electrical iron, and I need to draw even more if I want to run a conditioner like that, right? Air conditioner in my home, I need to draw more things like that. So, the soul has got the same tiny soul is able to supply so much, in the body of an elephant, and what is required to drive a body of an elephant. That is where the amazement is coming from there. Yeah, good.
Yes, Mataji. I couldn't articulate it that
Yeah,
way, but
yeah,
I meant that only.
you
Yes.
meant it. I know. Yeah. So a part of this, part of these teaching exercises, and the reason we study shastras every day is we are learning. What are we learning from these classes? Let's pause a little and see, what are we learning? You come here at 6:30 in the morning, America, 7 o'clock, India. Can you type and tell me on Facebook what you learn? And here on Zoom, you can discuss, what do we learn?
So learning all the knowledge from Shastras, it's because Bhagavad-gita is manual of life, and applying it in life, not just learning and feeling good about it, but how do we everyday apply it?
Okay. So when you come into a class, you learn the Shastra, and then you go back home and then you apply it. Okay. What else?
We
Mataji,
hear from
My point of view, sorry, can I go ahead?
Yes, please.
Okay, so my point of view, Mataji, what we are learning, we are reading the Gita, and we are connecting it with our life, and we are upgrading our life. Means
Okay.
we are trying to become a good human being.
All right. Very good. Yes. Very good. So you're learning how to become better. Okay. Ishwari Radha.
we're hearing it from the disciplic succession.
You're hearing it from the disciplic succession. Okay.
Yeah. We're not just reading and trying to understand it on our own way,
Okay. Yes.
If
Yeah.
we hear from someone who's heard it from a spiritual master,
Right.
then
Right.
makes it
Right.
sense.
Right. Exactly. Yes. And as you progress in learning about the Shastras, there are certain assemblies where you go and you say that, well, yeah, I think this. They'll say Shastric evidence. Where does it show in the Shastra? They don't agree to anything that you say. Why? Because I've got 4 defects, right? Whatever I say might not be right. There will be errors. I could be illusion, right? I could be cheating. I could do this. So every time they say, so we are also learning the Shastra from that perspective, right? And are we learning English language?
Yes, as we read translations and purport.
Yes, we do, isn't it? Yeah.
Mhm.
So we are learning the English.
My case, Mataji, I'm learning a lot. I cannot articulate. I am from a absolutely Hindi background, so I have learned a lot after coming to Krishna consciousness.
Okay. Now I'll tell you one more thing. I'll teach you one more thing. Now say that precisely in as few words as possible. Like
What is your question, Mataji?
say the same thing what you said in 3 sentences. Try to say that in half a sentence. What are you learning? Are you learning English? What will be the answer for that? Very precise answer.
Yes, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji, I'm
There
learning
you go.
English.
Yes, that is a good utilization of time, right? Because for the little time that we have up until 7:45 my time, we should utilize that. I think so. That is why what was Ved Vyas doing after he wrote the Vedas, thousands of verses? What did he do? He wrote the Vedanta Sutras. So sutra means precise, short. Tattvam asi, athato brahma jigyasa. So he's learning that, right? So this will also come. This thing about being precise will also come, right? So try not to have fluff around it. Just go precisely to the point. We will learn this, and so that's what I'm saying. When I have these classes are not just on, okay, here's the Bhagavad Gita, here's the thing. We try to connect it with other shastras. We try to connect it with other lives, and at the end of it, we have to become better at everything, right? Because we are a soul and we are good at everything. Okay, so we will learn how to do precision. And what else have you learned in these classes? Come on, work with me.
Mataji, the association is the most important.
Okay, good.
I'm getting the association of wonderful devotees.
Okay, now say that precisely. Without the and.
Getting the association of wonderful devotees.
Perfect. There you go. Right? Yeah. Whenever you have a tendency to say and, then just stop there and say, okay, maybe I'm done with it. Okay, very good. What else?
We have many
Um,
confusions, Mataji. So some of them we got the answers.
You got answers. Okay. So answers to my questions that were confusing me. Okay, very good. What else?
I'm learning detailed understanding of a concept. Like I did not know what does tolerance means and how to apply it in life. So I'm
Uh,
learning
Deeper?
detailed concepts.
Okay. So we're going deeper. Okay. Precise. Okay. Deeper. I'm
And
going deeper into concept.
forming a new belief system with which I interact with the world.
Okay. Very good. Very good. And which gives you strength? Does it give you strength?
Yes, very much, Mataji.
Very good. Okay. All right. What are you learning about coming to this class as a team and attending the class as a team? What are you learning? Did you learn something? I think you did.
We we learn from each other.
You learned from each other. Okay. But what about
Different perspectives, Mataji, right?
perspective?
Something that I never think, but other devotees think. So,
Okay. Right. And what is something else that you are practicing as a team here? Which is very
prayers.
prayers. Okay. As a team.
Courteousness.
Courteousness, exactly. Yeah. So when you're looking at the team, and please, can you expand a little bit on that courteousness? Give me an example of courteousness. How are you?
Like giving somebody else a chance to read if they want to read and not hogging up the whole purport. Reading a few sentences, giving somebody else a chance to read.
How does it feel when you do that?
Really good.
Really good, right? This is also something that you have learned, right? So remember,
More
you're not
detailed.
coming. Yeah, you're not coming here to learn Sanskrit. I can't teach you Sanskrit because I don't know Sanskrit. I might know just maybe something, few chapters or few pages ahead of you, but that's all, right? At the end of this day, if we don't become a better human being, then there is no point of memorizing the Shastras, knowing the size of the soul, size of the super soul, it's all confusing like that, right? So Shastras are there to help us. And that's why we go back to our prayers. And I say our prayers are very powerful because we have Sikshastakam. I mean, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes in and what does he write? He doesn't, like if Ved Vyas can write the Vedas and he can write Srimad Bhagavatam and top of that this and top of that. When Supreme Personality of Godhead combines with Radha and comes here as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he could have given something even better than Vedas, right? What does he give you? Shikshastakam. That's an exercise in precision, right? There's so much loaded in and when you speak, also when you just go and listen to a lecture by some of these exalted um, devotees, like listen to Radhanath Swami Maharaj, listen to Bhakticharya Swami Maharaj, listen to Giriraj Swami Maharaj, listen to Vaisheshika Prabhu, all these exalted, Devamit Swami Maharaj, the list is endless, fantastic people, Chaitanya Charan Prabhu. Their lectures are so packed with knowledge. Listen to them 5 minutes and they would have spoken like 10 concepts in that 5 minutes. It's just amazing that how you can just sit with one lecture and keep on drawing again and again from that. It's a unlimited cow. From there you just keep on being. So same thing with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his Shikshastakam. He has just said that Cheto Darpanam Marjanam. He did not say Varshanam Smaranam. He did not say you memorize verses. He just said Cheto Darpanam Marjanam. You clean your Cheta. You clean your mind. And that'll come from applying. And that'll come from, if we are not courteous to each other, if we are not working together as a team like that, then what will you do with our own anarthas, right? So it begins, charity begins at home. And so there'll be a lot. And that is why we see that Gita is a manual of life. And as a person who's driving this course or this class in the morning, it becomes my duty also sometimes to reinforce and enforce and, keep on saying and correcting you. Because if I can also, and this is what Prabhupada always also says, that you can go to a person, like you have got jigyasa, you want to know about God, right? So you can go to different kinds of teachers. Some teachers will charge you money for that. So good. When you pay money for something, you get value. But then when you pay money for something, you also want that person to treat you nicely because you paid money and you think you're entitled for some good treatment, right? And that's what they will do. They will try to give you what you like. They will try to agree to everything that you are saying. Right? They will never correct you because they will think that you're going to feel bad about it. They want you to feel cozy. They want to have a nice cozy relationship because the money will come and like that, right? So that's one. And then Prabhupada says that, but the real person, the real guru is one that, antar baha sahar de, bahar bahe chot, right? So he's going to put the hand inside, but outside he's going to give you a good whack. So, so once in a while, you might get a whack from me, and I am apologizing for that. That I don't do it intentionally. I have, something more in my mind, and I might just think
No.
that what's the point? What's the point in you spending hours over here if we don't
Yeah.
improve ourselves as a human being, right? And I,
Absolutely, Mataji.
yeah, and
I welcome.
I still remember as a I still remember as a child, I was good at studies, and in our school they had a little badge system where if you stood first in the class, they will call you in the assembly, and the teacher headmisters would put the badge on you which said first in class. And so you can imagine I was after that badge all the time. And then there was also a badge which said good conduct, right? And so my conduct was never good. Vidya Vadhu Mataji can attest to that. I was pretty obnoxious as a child. Um, so I got, and I used to argue with my mom a lot. So I got a first in class badge, 3 times in a row, month after month after month. So, so when I got that badge, I ran. And I think in the morning I was obnoxious to my mom. And then I went into the school and the school gave me this first in class badge. And then I came home and I showed my first in class badge to my mom. And then she said, yeah, that's fine. What you really need is a good conduct badge. And I still remember this after so many years because it struck me so bad, that she's not appreciating me. I got first in class badge. How come you're saying good conduct is important, right? But ultimately, in the end, in life, good conduct is what really matters. Good. Are you a good devotee? Do people see you as a good devotee? Do you see yourself inside as a good devotee? Is your cheta really clean, right? And once the cheta becomes clean, then what have we been talking about? That when your mind is clear, you'll realize that it's not a screen on which you're putting pictures. It is actually a mirror. And in the mirror, what will you see? In the mirror of your mind?
Your own reflection.
Your own reflection. And then you will see that
Your
you're
own.
soul. And so those who have done that, those who have cleaned their mind to such an extent that that the mind has become a mirror, they're able to see the soul. They're going to see themselves. And then what do they say? They are ascharyavat. This is like, oh my goodness, this is what I am. So you can imagine that false ego is so strong. False ego is so strong and so powerful that it makes you think something so wrong. I mean, how bad is that we don't even know who we are? Forget about any other thing. Like, you go you go to the airport and he's saying, show me your identity. Like, I'm sneaky. No, you are the soul, right? So it is amazing. It is an amazing thing. This bewilderment itself is amazing. And when you see the soul, you are very, very amazed, right? And then when you are so amazed by seeing what you have seen, then what do? When you see something nice, what do? You start talking about it, right? So that is why Ascharyavat, so he's saying that some people see him as, as amazing, see the soul as amazing. Some will describe him as amazing. So those who have seen it will now try to describe it, because when you see something very nice, you try to tell it to your friends. So they will now start talking to you, right? So you might not have seen the soul. You might not have seen the soul, right? But a person who has he was a Atma, Rama, who's Atma Jnani, who has understood the soul, who has seen the soul in the reflection on his mind, you will hear from him, right? So you will also sort of see, because do you agree that you can see through your ears?
Yes, absolutely.
Right? Because if I start describing something to you, then you actually, in your mind, you start seeing it, right? You start seeing that
Yeah.
picture
Yeah.
there in your mind, right?
Mm.
So you can see, and it's very interesting thing that otherwise, which is the sense organ which is required for seeing? Which sense organ do you need?
Eyes.
Eyes, right? Now, there's a very famous verse from Brahma Samhita, which we recite on the 7 o'clock darshan arti.
Premanjana Charita Bhakti Vilochanena.
Bhakti, what are the two that we recite?
Is it the Premanjana Charita? Seeing or no?
Anybody else who goes to the darshanarti can tell. Nobody goes to darshanarti. What happened? There are two verses. Okay.
First is Govinda, Govinda, Madhipurusham,
Yes.
Yes.
Tamaham Bhajami.
Yeah.
Then next one is Venum Kavantam Arvindam Dalayaksham Bharhavatam Samasitam Mudhasundarangam Kandarpakamaniya Visheshoshabhan Govindam. That's what I remember.
Yeah, very good, right? And there's another verse that I've brought up here, 5.32 from the Brahma Samhita. And whose turn is it to read? You don't remember who left last? I had read the Sanskrit, and then after me, the person read the word by word. I think it was Ishwari Radhya, and then we were beating it up into pieces by going through the whole big purport which was there. And then who left? Do you remember? Or we can start over from, if you don't remember, we can start over from Ishwari Radha.
I think start over, Mataji. I don't
Okay, why don't you start over? I'm looking for a person here to read this.
The Sanskrit Mataji?
Yeah.
Angani yasya sakalendriya vrittimanti pashyanti panti kalayanti chiram jaganti ananda chinmaya sadujjvala vigrahasya govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami.
Okay, translation. Who's going to give us the translation?
I worship Govinda, the venerable Lord, whose transcendental form is full of bliss, truth, sustainability, and is the
Substantiality.
okay, substantiality, and in thus full of most dazzling splendor. Each of the limbs of the transcendental figure possesses in himself and full-fledged functions of all the organs, and eternally sees, maintains, and manifests the infinite universes, both spiritual and mundane.
Okay, so what is something peculiar? What is something that is coming out, that is catching from this verse?
The full-fledged functions of all the organs, and eternally sees, maintains. So from any organ, he can do other functions.
From any organ, he can do other functions, right? Okay. Now, let's look at this verse, which is from Bhagavad-gita, chapter 15. I'm going to bring up let's see. Whose turn is it now to read the Sanskrit?
Mine.
Okay, go ahead.
Can I take a second to just read in my head for a quick second?
That's always a good idea. And that is that between thinking, feeling, willing, and acting, you're making some gaps. Okay.
Mame vamsho jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana sasthandriyani prakriti sthani karshati.
Okay, good at that. Mana shashthani. That
Mana shashthani.
Yeah. Okay, shashthani. Okay, now what it is saying? Translation.
Varshana Mataji.
Translation or the cinnamon?
Translation.
Just give the translation.
Okay. The living entities in this conditioned world are my eternal fragmental parts. Due to conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with the six senses, which include the mind. Hare Krishna.
Right. So what do you learn from here?
We are very struggling very, very hard with our senses, including mind.
Okay. And then that was the negative part. Now give me the positive, Preeti Radhika.
They are eternal fragmental parts of Krishna.
Yeah, internal condition part. And we are eternal parts of Krishna. Okay. So you are a part of Krishna. Remember that? Okay. Now let's go to the previous verse. And you said that what was one of the properties of Krishna that you found amazing?
Oh, now we see the connection that the full-fledged functions of all organs he can perform
Okay.
with any of his senses.
Okay. And you are a part of him.
So we can also do that
You
to
can
some
also
degree.
do that to some degree. You see, so you're a minute part and particle of Krishna. You'll be able to do that. So if he can see with his eyes, if he can, if he can eat with his eyes, then you can also do like that, right? And the fact is that you do. And this is something, I'm not being gender biased, but this is something that I'll pose to the women. That how do you put on earrings?
By just feeling it, yeah. We don't even have to see it.
Do you really, after some time, do you really have to feel where the hole in the ear is to put the thing there?
No, actually not. Not even feel it.
Right? You know, your hand will go to the precise point. As if this hand has got eyes, right? You are able to do it. Now, who is guiding all that? Who drives all that? Varshana Mataji, who drives all that? You gave us the answer.
Soul, Mataji, the soul.
Mind.
Soul. Yeah, the soul drives everything. So that's the soul, you see? The soul is able to
Because
drive.
it pervades the whole body. So
Exactly. So there are very amazing things. There are very amazing things in this body itself. Now you can't see the soul. We can't see the soul, right? We can't see the soul, but at least let's look at the amazing things about this body, right? Can you tell me some of the amazing things about the bodies, your body or other bodies that you see around you? Do you find anything amazing in Mother Nature?
How food is digested, how blood circulates, how heart beats and keeps everything together.
Oh, very good.
How we even heal. Like we get a cut, it heals. It's amazing that it heals.
It heals. Okay, very good. What else?
breathing, we breathe the body.
Yeah. So how breathing happens? Yeah, circulation, respiration. Okay, yeah.
The beautiful forms, Mataji. All the different beautiful forms.
Okay, for example, give me an example of a beautiful form.
Well, like just the scenery sometimes, or even a person, you know.
Okay. All right. Give me something about the bodies.
Just the eyes, the beautiful
Mataji,
face.
Okay. Yeah.
God,
Yeah. Varshana, you were trying to say something?
Mataji, God has given us the 10 fingers, and they, they fold it so well, it becomes a fist. It can hold it. It can hold the food to eat. And wherever as much strength is required, it does it.
Okay. Very good. Okay. Now let's take some other bodies other than the human body. Do you find them fascinating?
Mataji, the trunk of an elephant, he can take the water and bathe himself or herself on his own.
Okay. The peculiar nose of an elephant, right? So it's a
The
long
birds.
nose, right? Yeah, it can squirt water on itself. Okay. So that
Yeah.
is
How about? Sorry. Go ahead.
how about what? Yeah.
The
I was
birds. How they're able to fly in the air.
Okay. Yeah. So birds are able to fly in the air. Yeah.
And Mataji, birds, how they take a bath in a tiny water and then they shake themselves and take off the whole water. I mean, that's amazing.
Amazing, right? And nobody teaches them.
And how they regulate their body temperature when they are in water, when they are on the earth.
Very good.
And
Very
all
good.
these processes are happening like simultaneously, right? Even with our body, we are seeing, we are breathing at the same time, heart is beating, blood is circulating, everything is happening at the
Yeah.
same time. There is
Yeah.
like an entirety in the situation.
Yes, yes, it's a fantastic team that works on coordination, and I was very surprised. I mean, and look at, like, look at the birds. I mean, um, what do birds do? Fly, and then about flying, there's something very amazing that birds do usually that other animals don't do. Some birds who are in the cold countries, what do they do?
They migrate?
They migrate, right? How do they migrate? Flying thousands of miles and knowing exactly where to go, and then exactly returning back, right? So they are amazing, amazing things. Do you know the Taylor bird, Darzi Chidiya? What does the Taylor bird do?
Yes, it builds its nest by getting each and every straw and spins it, I mean, or uh,
Stitches
fixes it
it.
in such a way,
Stitches it.
stitches it. Thank you. Yeah.
Stitches the net. It stitches the nest like that, right? Look at the fishes. They are there. Fishes are born in some, fresh water, and then some of the salmons, and then they go all the way to they travel thousands of miles, and then they join the sea when they become big. And then after that, when there's time for them to lay eggs, they come back and follow the exact same route, and they come back to the fresh water that they were there. So this is so much amazing. And now that from through Shastric knowledge, you know that it's the soul that is driving it. So when you understand that, I mean, most of us were sleeping, or at least I was sleeping for sure. I was sleeping for sure, and not having an idea that there is a soul that is guiding. Everything was just the body. But then when you understand that, oh my goodness, that there's a soul that does that, and that there's soul in everybody that is driving that, then that is your moment, aha, or as they say, eureka, I found it, I got it. And then the surprise comes. So when you see your soul, that is also the surprise moment, like, oh, amazed, I'm amazed. So then you have seen it. So that's one way of seeing it. Other way is that you see it through the words of others, because these people who found the soul amazing are now going to talk to you about it, right? Krishna is talking about the soul, and you're finding it amazing every time that you're reading it. You're finding it so much amazing that the soul doesn't have to change anything in order to be able to drive the body of a tailor bird to know how intricately it has to stitch it to into the body of a spider, where it knows how to sting, and how a spider knows how to spin a web. It's amazing. It's such a strong thread. It weaves by itself like that. And they're amazing. I mean, like, you have to just go to zoology, biology. I'm pretty sure, they know. They have this instinct. Yes, Vijay Mataji, that you're saying. But from where is that instinct coming? Instinct is the super soul that is doing that to you. So you
And
understand, and you feel very very, very amazed. So what I'm trying to drive over here is that you can see through your eyes, which is the highest level that you have seen the soul, and the next level is that you're seeing through your ears, right? Somebody else has seen it, and then now you are um, hearing it through somebody else, right? So you realize it, you are amazed, and then you start talking, you talking about it to other people, and you are amazed as you are talking about it, right? While you're talking it, you'll get amazed about that. And then the Shrotagan, those who are sitting in their assembly, they are hearing about it, like, oh my goodness, is this what this was? I was thinking I'm the body. They get amazed by listening to that. And then they're the fourth kind that is described in the verse. And what is that fourth kind that Krishna says? Some find him as amazing, some talk about him as amazing, and then hear about him as amazing, and then
Even
But
after hearing
nobody
about
cannot, some people cannot understand.
cannot understand, right? That is the sad part. Isn't that the sad part? Right? So the soul is amazing. Describing the soul is amazing. So here we are um, talking about the soul itself. That soul is amazing, right? But again, not only is the soul amazing, the person who sees it, gets affected by that. The person who sees it, he gets amazed by it because of the realization, right? Then there is a person who talks about it, and even while he's talking about it, he gets amazed about it. Then the third type is people who are listening about it, and then they get amazed by it, right? And then there are the fourth type of people, right? Fourth type of people. They are also amazing, but they are amazingly stupid. They can't get it. This is the height of stupidity, that learning the Shastras, getting the Shastras, but not understanding it. And it is sad, it is very sad, that why can't we not understand? And we are not able to understand Shastras because of, can you think of reasons why a person is not able to understand Shastras? If somebody is saying
My
the soul,
my
why-
false ego, Mataji.
Prabhupada
His own
says,
false ego.
go ahead, Kathy.
Prabhupada says in this verse, men with the poor fund of knowledge and who are not austere, right? So knowledge and austerity both are required to be eligible.
Spiritual knowledge, right? Spiritual knowledge, for spiritual knowledge, austerity is required. Even for mundane knowledge, austerity is required. You don't have austerity, right? So now you heard it. Austerity is required, right? Even after hearing about austerity, some people are not able to be austere, right? Some people are not able to say, I'm only going to drink milk. They're not able to do that. Why? Why is it? Why is it? Why is it that people don't get it? Because that's the part we have to address, right? Why does a person, like, people come and listen? 100 people come to the temple, they listen. Some understand it, some don't get it. The teacher was the same. Teacher spoke the same thing. He spoke the same thing, or she spoke the same thing to everybody.
Conviction,
So,
right? How much I'm
also,
willing to apply it in my life, and how much my desires are in a different direction.
Yeah. So,
also in the
hmm?
sorry, in the last paragraph, Prabhupada says that, if you understand with faith the statements of Bhagavad Gita and you have previous life's credits, then it will come easily, and also with the association of the devotees.
Okay, so they have credits. So credits definitely are a positive thing to have. So you should try to collect credits as much as possible. So if you
Because
don't have,
sometimes the attitude is also help that, okay, I'm listening, I'm reading, but I don't need to apply everything,
yes,
or maybe I don't need to listen everything. Because
right,
I'm just hearing.
yes, and the main and the main question was that why does the attitude not change, right? Why does the attitude not change for somebody, right? So Preeti, Radhika, and Khyati Mataji, so they are saying that I am very much entangled in the material world. So you will not get it. You will not get it till you get over that part. Your desires are going to govern. Because as long as I have got mundane desires, as long as I have got desire to enjoy this and that, as long as I have a desire to enjoy independently of Krishna, Krishna will allow it. Right? Upadrashta Anumanta. The support soul will allow you to do that, because until and unless you don't take care of that part, you will try devotional service and fall down again. It's better to clear your things. So Krishna is saying, okay, fine, you want to enjoy, try this, try that. You want this, okay, take this, like that. So he'll continue to do that. So that is one of the reasons our own desires are there, which will prevent you. Then second reason is our bad habits. A bad habit could also be that I just want to question everything. I just want to win every argument that I have. I don't want to surrender. These are the anarthas that we have, right? And the third thing, which we do not think about and might not realize, is Vaishnava Aparadh. It's a very dangerous thing. It just comes, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu calls that as Hati Mata. That it's like a mad elephant offense. Like, just as a mad elephant can come into the garden and uproot all the trees in just like that in a few seconds, everything is completely devastated there. Similarly, by performing Vaishnava Aparadha, your devotional service, the garden of your devotional service, can get completely devastated, so much devastated that you can sit in classes and but it will not sink in like that, right? So that is the fourth category of people. They hear about it and still they don't get it. So what is the remedy? How can you help such people who cannot get it by hearing? What will you do? How will you make it better for them?
Prasad for them.
Shadam, exactly. See, that is what Prabhupada did when he came here to USA, right? He came and he just innocently distributed prasadam and they innocently ate it like that, right? So, something that we learned here today is that you can hear, you can see with your ears. So you can still see the soul by hearing about it. And if you practice it on cleansing the mirror of our mind, then we'll be able to look into it and find that you are there as the soul. Till that happens, all that we have to do is to do sadhana bhakti, sadhana bhakti, sadhana bhakti. Practice, 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 chanting the holy names of the Lord, because from the ABCD of Sutapa Mataji today, we said that our diet has got to be good. And then vitamins have to be used as supplements, and all the vitamins are there in the holy name. So think about the holy name of the Lord. And if you want to think and discuss it more, then you can come again and join us at 6:00 p.m. today for a little japa session. And we are going to discuss Bhagavad-gita 7.2, which is opulences of the absolute. It's a fantastic chapter. So from now till then, which is only a few hours away, I'd like to take your leave, and please forgive me for any offenses that I might have committed while teaching this particular class. Thank you once again. Have a fantastic, fantastic day. I'm going to
Hare Krishna.